find any mistakes in my grammar, comment down below. In another video that I made for this channel some time back, I was talking about the mistakes that German speakers make when speaking their own language. Well, now it's the turn of the English speakers. These are the mistakes that native speakers of English make when speaking their own language that drive me absolutely nuts. Yes, we're back and it's time for revenge. This is for my German viewers that probably even speak better English than some native speakers of English. These are the 10 mistakes that are very common, far too common. They drive me absolutely mental when native speakers of English get these things wrong in their own language. Number 1 is the absolutely inexplicable inability of English speakers, some English speakers, to differentiate between the words there, and there. Okay, they all sound the same, roughly the same or exactly the same. Pronouncing them all exactly the same is fine, but come on, if you're going to be writing, I don't know, you always see this stuff on social media, people with a massive point to make and they just undermine everything they've got to say by not being able to get this simple thing right. There is there in space and it's over there in space. It's a location. There is a possessive, it's expressing possession. That is their way of doing things. That's their favourite film. It is the favourite film of these people. It's really easy. And their apostrophe RE, they are, is an abbreviation of they are, so please don't get it wrong. My second mistake is very, very similar, and it's a bit of a problem that we English speakers have, is the use of apostrophes correctly, and it's not being able to differentiate between your and your. Again, it's really simple. Apostrophe, that indicates that it's contraction. It indicates that it's replacing a letter that's not there anymore. And in this case, it's from the word are. You are. Your, you are. Your is, again, possessive. It's yours. It belongs to you. This is your video if you want to learn how to speak English properly. Number 3 then. Oh God. This one drives me absolutely mental. Brace yourselves. We're talking about could've, would've and should've. What would you call this? Some kind of conditional tense. We don't have to get into the technicalities of the grammar of this. We just have to know how to write things properly. This obviously comes from the tendency of English speakers to pronounce things indistinctly. Our vowels are not very clear. So I could have done something if I had had the resources would be the correct and full formulation. But of course we contract and we say could have. We take off the H and the A, we put in an apostrophe there. Again, it's our problem with apostrophes. English speakers, what is your problem with apostrophes? Could have is shortened to could have. Should have is abbreviated to should have. Would have, would have. Not of. It may sound very similar to of. Some of the things I do does sound exactly the same. We have this kind of, you don't say of, you don't pronounce the O completely, it's just a of. Very much similar to a lazy German kind of umlaut sound. Some of them should have. Okay, I see where the confusion is. Some of, should have, of. Sounds exactly the same. But come on, think about it. When you're writing, think about what it means. Some of them should have learnt how to spell English words properly. My number 4 for me is something very, very personal. This really, really offends my ears, and I have to say I hear it more and more often every day. It's the idea of there is and there are, or rather how the use of there are is simply becoming extinct. Now, this is an acceptable mistake if you're coming from a foreign language like German. There are and there is in German has one expression. Es gibt. The same goes for Spanish. Hay. The same goes for French. Il y a. Doesn't matter how many of these things that there are, or if there is just one. If I say, there is a glass in my hand. If I have several objects, there are 2 objects now that I am holding. This is plural. There is one object, there are two objects. I have to specify whether it's plural or not. And this is dying out in English. As I say, it would be understandable if you were coming from a foreign language, because in German it doesn't matter. Es gibt ein Objekt, es gibt zwei Objekte. Spanish, hay un objeto, hay dos. It's exactly the same. But anyway, in English, we have to specify, and I'm going to actually have to lay the blame at the door of the Americans on this one. It's becoming almost standard. I never ever hear Americans saying there are. It's always there is one person, there's many people. There's many people. That offends my ears so badly. There are many people. There are multiple things. And in fact, the worst example I have of this, there's one episode of The Big Bang Theory, and I can't remember exactly the circumstances. I believe it's when there's an exchange student, that young Wunderkind from Korea that comes over, and he's correcting Leonard's English, his use of English. And then I think Sheldon piles on and says he's got a point and whatever, but in the next breath of having corrected Leonard's grammar, he makes exactly this mistake. There's many, or there's multiple. I can't remember the exact circumstance. I'll have to go back and find it, but it drives me mad, especially if you're going to stick your neck out on one point and then in the next sentence go on to make this horrible mistake. Calm down, Richie. Calm down. My fifth mistake is also related to plurals and the lack of awareness when it comes to what words you have to use with plurals, and it's the difference between fewer and less. The use of fewer, the word fewer, it seems to be dying out. There are fewer things if it's plural. I have less time, but I can't say I have... Okay, I have two objects in my hands. I take one away, and I now have fewer objects. I only have one object. Not I have less objects. Less can only be used with singular or those things that aren't quantifiable. For instance, information. There is less information. If at first there are, please notice, there are 7 people standing at the bar in the pub, and one goes away, afterwards there are fewer people standing at the bar because there are only 6. There are not less people. However, if there are fewer, plural, fewer people, if there are fewer people standing at the bar, I can expect that I will spend less time there. Time, not quantifiable or singular, less. Fewer times. I would have to go to the bar fewer times if I ordered all the drinks at once. But if I go back and forth ordering the drinks separately, I have to go many times. Number 7 is another one that the Americans are guilty of. The use of good and well, the mixing up the use of good and well, the incorrect use of good in particular. Good is an adjective, well is an adverb. Well goes with a verb. So, how are you doing? I am doing well. I was performing well. I wasn't performing good, and I am not doing good. I am doing well. To illustrate this 8th mistake, I'm going to use it to prove my point. This 8th mistake literally kills me. I hate it so much. Of course, it doesn't literally kill me, but that's how people use the word literally all the time. Literally means factually, absolutely, this is non-ironic truth. And it is not acceptable even as hyperbole to say, I am literally dying. If you're not imminently going to be dead, you are not literally dying. It doesn't literally drive you round the bend. This mistake really does get on my nerves, but it doesn't literally kill me. If you're going to use the word literally, it means it really is happening. The 9th mistake is another problem with apostrophes. As you can see, this is a bit of a theme for our video. The inability of people to distinguish between its and its. People, apostrophes are there for very few reasons. One of the reasons is contraction, meaning it replaces a missing letter. If you put an apostrophe between the T and the S in its, it means there is something missing, and that is the letter I. It is. Its can only ever mean it is. It is not used to show possession. What's this? It's a glass. It is a glass. So I need an apostrophe. What's this? It's a lens cap, actually. It's the companion that I have been using to illustrate lots of these stupid grammar ideas. Sorry about this if it's getting a bit too weird. This is the glass, and this is its companion. It is the companion of the glass in my silly examples. I'm just grabbing the nearest thing that are available. The lens cap has a companion. The glass is its companion. So I don't need an apostrophe. ITS without an apostrophe. Possession. Final mistake, number 10 then, is the thing that probably drives me most mad out of these examples, and it's the excessive use of apostrophes before the letter S where they are not needed. Now, sometimes it is of course used to show possession. Apostrophes have two uses: contraction, like in the word won't, and it is, won't as in will not, can't as in cannot, isn't as in is not. Also to show possession. For example, this channel is my channel. This is Richie's channel. In that case, you need to add an S and add an apostrophe. That's correct. The most difficult one for native English speakers when it comes to possessive apostrophes with an S in conjunction with an S seems to be when it comes to plurals. So for example, ladies, the plural of lady is of course ladies, and if we want to indicate that something belongs to the ladies, or it's a ladies clothing range, it is not lady L-A-D-Y apostrophe S clothing range, because that would be just for one lady and it's for many ladies. We have to put the apostrophe right at the end. That seems to be totally beyond most native speakers today. But I see so many unnecessary and so many unacceptable apostrophes before S, the letter S. They're just willy-nilly randomly used, like ladies instead of using the plural ladies. There are many ladies in the bar waiting less time to get fewer drinks or whatever it was. Or for instance, when do you go to the pub to stand at the bar with the ladies waiting for fewer drinks for less time? I go on Wednesdays. And then apostrophe S, when we're just talking about multiple Wednesdays, is using the apostrophes in there when it's a plural, and it's just why? There is only one exception that I can think of. There may even be more, but it seems to be in conjunction with numbers. If we're talking, for instance, about the decades 1990s, the 80s, the 70s or whatever, it's acceptable when you're writing it in figures to use an apostrophe S, but it's also perfectly acceptable to do so without an apostrophe. Just put an S at the end of the figure 80S to say 80s. I choose to write it without. It's completely unnecessary, and it's probably part of the reason why we've got this problem that people don't know how to use apostrophes, because, you know, seems to be a break from the rule. I don't know. It's something that drives me mad. Well, I hope this video was interesting, maybe even informative, or at least a little bit amusing. I know I am a bit of a stickler when it comes to grammar and writing things properly. I find language very, very important, and find it important to be able to express myself properly. That said, I'm sure the comment section is now full of comments telling me exactly what I had pronounced wrong, spoken wrong during this video. Find any mistakes in my grammar, comment down below. If not, if you did enjoy the video, please do like and subscribe for more stuff on languages, particularly German language, English language, differences, stuff like that. I hope the German viewers out there enjoyed this, and we finally got revenge on those English speakers. I know I gave you a hard time in your own video. You can find that video by clicking on this link now. And otherwise, please do subscribe, give me a like, give me a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.